What's happening, folks? Welcome back to the 182 News YouTube channel. I appreciate you checking out this video. Today, we're going to talk about Tom DeLonge's original red Fender guitar. And I want to bring you all along as part of this journey. This has been several years of research, and I'm working on recreating the most accurate replica of this guitar. So some of you may have stumbled across this YouTube channel several years back. I had put out several videos on recreating Tom DeLonge's white sticker Strat, his famous sticker Strat. He used this from 1994 through 1997. I documented the process. I did a bunch of videos along with what I refer to as the sticker Strat crew, my friends who helped me research this, and we laid out all the framework so that if you ever want to recreate one of these, my hope is that you have everything you need to pull that off. And there's several videos on that. If you're curious, go back a couple years. And once I finished that, if you don't know, that research led to Tom DeLonge's original white guitar, the white Strat. He still had it. However, it was de-stickered long ago. And thanks to our research, they used that to re-sticker Tom's guitar, and it was on display at the Blink-182 VIP Museum a couple years back. I was able to visit that. It was absolutely surreal. Tom himself had actually stumbled across those videos and had reached out to me, which was pretty cool. So check those out if you're curious. But as I was done with that project, I started thinking about, okay, what's the next guitar that I want to dig into and get really nerdy on? And the one that crossed my mind was the one before that. And it was a Fender Red guitar, we assumed. And what I wanted to do as far as this video goes is lay out some of the research that went into figuring out what kind of guitar this was, what year was it made. And I've really done the best job I can at the moment to recreate this thing, and I want to bring you all along as part of the journey. So to get things kind of started here, if you look at the earliest photos of Blink-182, you'll see Tom has a red Fender, looks like a Strat guitar. And so when Blink forms in August 1992, the earliest photos we have of him and Blink is playing this guitar, one that looks like it. And he uses that for a couple years. Cheshire Cat is recorded with this. And then, as we know, he ends up getting a white Fender Strat that we refer to as the sticker Strat, and that thing is used from 1994 through 1997. So this red one does not have a long run per se, but it's the first guitar in Blink. Their first album is recorded with it, and there's some awesome early photos of it from back in the day, most of these courtesy of Carrie Key, close friend of theirs during that time period. And the more I started digging into some of the early photos and history of Blink, I was just thinking, I'd like to recreate this first guitar. And when you look at some of the pictures of it, right away, it just looks like a typical Strat body. And I wasn't really sure. I had seen a couple replicas throughout the years. Most folks use just a newer Fender Squier or Affinity Squier that you can just get off of the internet whenever for a couple $100. It didn't seem like it would be a huge undertaking because there's not a lot of mods needed on it, unlike the sticker Strat where you have to gut it and put in new pickups and all that stuff. I saw a couple sticker packs that were out there, like an Etsy one. They didn't seem super accurate, but it seemed like if you wanted to start building one of these, you probably could. But I figured if I'm going to do this, I want to do it right. I thought about just going a new Affinity Squier route, and I thought, you know what? Let's do this as accurate as possible, and let's dig into this. So what I'm going to do here, similar to the last research video on the sticker Strat, I think I'm going to have to lay this out as a couple different videos. This will be part one, more or less the research that went into it. And then I'm going to do probably a part two with the sticker application so that you can follow along if you ever pick one of these up and want to sticker it properly or as accurately as we can surmise based off of the photo evidence we have, which is not that many. So starting off with the research, you look at a picture of this and you think, okay, it's a red Squier. Let me go find a red Squier. However, as I just mentioned, I wanted to try and figure out, okay, what exactly is this? Is it actually a Squier? We didn't know. And so when the pandemic happened, Mark had been sharing some of his early photos that he had found in some of his blink tubs. And one of the photos that he shared is a picture of Tom right next to Steve Kravac, and they're working on Cheshire Cat. And as I see this photo, I'm talking with some of my fellow blink nerds, and we're looking at this and we say, that's a Squier. That's a fucking Squier that he recorded Cheshire Cat with, which is kind of crazy, but it makes sense. I mean, this is early. They didn't have a ton of money, probably didn't have any money for instruments or anything like that. So during the recording sessions, and as soon as Blink forms, he has what just looks like a red, we now know, Squier. And it's kind of got this nice red finish to it, and it's got the rosewood neck. And as I started looking at some of the photos, I was really trying to hone in on, okay, these are pretty grainy. You can't zoom in, like we don't have a serial number or anything like that, but trying to look at the headstock, what year or what does it look like? You know, I'm trying to figure out exactly what year this thing would have been made or what year Squier it was. So obviously he has this in August 1992, all throughout 1993. So you can deduce that it's not made in 1994. He had it prior to that. So as I started going backwards, I started looking up, okay, 1992 Squiers, 1991 Squiers, 1988 Squiers, you know, who knows? And I was trying to match the headstock. And based on just a couple photos we have, we do not have many, I was able to look and see that my best guess is that it says Squier in silver, has a black serial number right underneath, and then off to the sides of that, it has Stratocaster and the Fender logo in black. And so as I'm starting to look through all of these photos of early 90s, late 80s Fender Squiers, I'm trying to match that headstock. And what I found was there's quite a few different headstocks during that time period. There was also thrown in bullet Squiers, Squier 2s, all these different Squiers that I had no clue about. And I was really trying to find an exact match for this headstock. And even off the top of my mind, I was thinking, okay, this is probably a 90-91. I mean, Squiers are typically an entry model. They're not super expensive to begin with. So if he starts grabbing an electric guitar 1992 to form a band, my best guess off the bat was it's likely a 90-91 that I'm looking at. And what I found was I was able to find a couple different headstocks that were close. Now there's one that had like a silver Squier, and then it had a silver serial number. There was some that had just black. So, okay, it's not that. Like, to me, these photos are not black. To me, it looks pretty clear that that's silver, likely a black serial number underneath. And as I started digging into this, what I found was in the late 80s and the early 90s, there were made in Japan Squiers and there were made in Korea Squiers. And so looking at the headstocks from what I was able to match up with, I was starting to hone in on, okay, this looks like about 1988 to 1991-ish, made in Korea Squier. And what's interesting about that is I found that those are actually fairly sought after. Like, a lot of people really like these old Squiers. It has something to do with, I guess, just the quality of the wood on the neck, which really surprised me. When I first started this, I was thinking, this is going to be a piece of cake to find. Like, Squiers are cheap. They're $300 brand new. Can't be that hard to find. But then I started thinking about them, like, who the hell still has a Squier from 1990 that's in good condition? So I was starting to get a little bit worried. And even when I started Googling these right off the bat, trying to match the headstock, what I found was there is not many of these, and there are even fewer in that red color that it looked like. So as I started trying to match the headstock, what I landed on here, and again, this is all just based off of my best guess that I have and talking with some of my friends that I trust about this, the same crew that worked on the Sticker Strat project. And what I was able to deduce from what we were looking at is that this was likely a 1991 made in Korea Squier, and it has a black serial number underneath. There were two different factories that these were made in over in Korea, and the particular one that I was going to be looking for is from the MIK factory. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but there were two different factories, and you're able to deduce which factory based on the serial number and then also due to the color of the serial number. So there's a cutoff there, like 89, 90-ish. It's one color, and then right in 1991, it cuts over to the black with the silver Squier. And from what I was able to find, and best guess based on these few pictures we have of this is what I was going with. So I started to kind of hone in on, okay, I think I've got the right year. It looks like this is a made in Korea Squier, fairly rare from what I can find. I'm not seeing a ton of these on Reverb, if any. I'm not seeing any for sale. And so I just started looking over and over and over and just setting up searches on eBay or wherever. And it took me months to track down one of these. And I'm sure, just like a lot of you start thinking about, okay, well, what's the actual color? I mean, it looks red. From what I was able to figure out, you could say it's maybe a Torino Red. I've seen some say that. I've seen some just call it red. The good thing is the offerings that year in 1991, there was only one red from what I can gather. So I knew as soon as I was able to find one that was 1991 made in Korea, regardless of what red you might call it or best guess, it's the only one made in red. And so long story short, I was able to finally find one of these overseas. And I mean, this took me months and months. And again, in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, I could do this the cheap way with an Affinity Squier, but if you're gonna do it, like, just do it right. And I wanna find an old school OG one and try to be as true as possible to the original. I should add, and I broke this story a couple years back, probably 3 or 4 years back, but Tom does not own his original red Squier. He doesn't. Nobody knew about that forever. Everybody was trying to figure out, does he still have it? Does he not? Legend has it, story I was told and cleared to share is he gave it to a friend. The friend spray painted it silver, and in an act of punk rock fashion, they were in a band, smashed it at a show. So it is no more. So there's not going to be any dumpster diving or going through storage where Tom magically has this and we get the serial number and everything's clear as day. So we're also trying to recreate something here that literally doesn't exist. And we're just using our best guesses based off of 10 photos. I mean, there's not many of them at all. And you also have to take into account the amount of time that has passed. I mean, we're talking 35 years of paint, and whether the paint has been outside, whether it's darkened, lightened in the sun, like whatever. So this one I was able to find, and I have not started messing with this yet. And to me, I just love how this has aged. It is a beautiful red. And I will say I was able to find some red ones early on, but they had the maple neck. And so to me, it was important. I don't want to piece this together. I want to have the dark neck. I want to have an original body, original parts, and try and go about it that way if I'm really going to do this the right way. So I managed to track one down, and I had to get it from overseas. But as you can see here, it's got the silver Squier, it's got the black underneath, it's got Stratocaster and Fender in black off to the side, dark rosewood neck, and we've got the red body. And I was stoked. And this thing was shipped overseas. I never trust guitars being shipped, period, much less overseas. I was stoked when this thing showed up and it was safe. And yeah, at that point, I had the guitar, but we were still a long ways from getting this. I mean, this was 2 years ago this thing showed up at my house, literally. And I've been trying to get this project done ever since. Once you find the right guitar, the good thing about this is you don't have to do many mods to it. I mean, you don't have to switch the pickups. You don't have to drill out the inside to try and make space for a large humbucker or anything like that. So I think once you find the right guitar, you'll find that this process can hopefully start to move pretty quickly. But the hard part is figuring out the stickers. And that is where the holdup came throughout this whole process for me. I know I had seen a couple sticker packs out there. However, I wanted to be as accurate as possible and try and figure this out. And also, as part of the history here, kind of document which stickers are what, where they came from, and all that. What I found was the majority of these are just early 90s skateboard stickers. It really is. And most of this I'll go into more detail when I actually sticker this thing. I'll talk through those. But I did work really hard to try and source the original stickers on this. I was able to on several. And then with the help of my buddy Davey Jones, who has been on the podcast a million times, helped with the sticker strap, we were able to recreate these and get them printed, and that is what will be placed on these in the application video. And obviously I know right off the bat people are asking, you know, are we sharing the stickers? You know, we're not. There's a lot of work that went into this and copyright and all of that. It's just a fan project. So unfortunately, we can't help you get the stickers, but our hope is that we've laid out the research to where if you want them or can track them down, you can recreate them or find a sticker shop to make them on your own. A couple just off the bat, just to note for the sake of this video, but the NoFX one, NoFX still had that, which was pretty rad. I was able to just go to their store a couple years ago and just buy it. Jeremy Klein, skateboarder, I was able to contact him, actually get an OG one that we used, which is so sick. The one that I never figured out still to this day, and I would love if somebody could shed some light on this and has the answer to it, is the meat one. I could never figure out what this meat one is. There's actually text on top, I think, but I can't see it. We weren't able to source an original GDC, which I found out was the Get Down Clowns. I will note that there is one on the back that we have no clue what it is, probably won't unless a photo surfaces someday. That's the beauty of this research project, is that it keeps going on, and perhaps one day a crystal clear photo of the back will surface, or even the headstock, and all of a sudden we'll know. So if you have rad photos of this, of course, please reach out to me on the podcast and share any photos or insight you may have. This is an ongoing process. Just like with the sticker strat, as soon as we got through all of it, Mark Hoppus himself found a photo of the back clear as day, and we were completely wrong on one of the back stickers. So I will note there's a back sticker that we have no clue on, and then you'll see in the corner there's a little bit of yellow wrapped around that we have no idea what it says. So I did not go through the trouble of recreating that until the research supports what it might be. It's interesting, really just in the past couple months when Mark released his book, there's an awesome photo in there of them recording Buddha at Double Time Studios. And there's a huge SST sticker that Tom has on there that we had never seen before. And I actually was tempted to build one like that, but I don't know. I'm still on the fence about it. I've never seen a Buddha era replica, so I considered it. Lutz from the Sticker Strat crew actually happened to have an original of this, so I was considering it. We'll have to see if I end up doing that, but that's just a great example of one photo surfaces and all of a sudden just all of the history and everything we know about this stuff can just change immediately. It's pretty rad. You'll have to pick up a Gibson lightning strap. I got that from Gibson on their website. Super sick. It's probably like 20 or 25 bucks. You have to do that if you make one of these for sure. Easy pickup. So what I'll do in this video is I've got to start cleaning this thing up. And I actually bought, when this thing showed up, I'm all about preserving the history on this, but you'll see here, the pickup covers are really, really yellow, like really yellow. I'm like, gosh, I'm on the fence about replacing those or not. I bought the little Fender kit that you can, as well as the volume and tone knobs. The tone knobs don't bother me as much, but gosh, those pickup covers are basically yellow, mustard yellow. So I will likely replace those. It's just something to keep in mind. Like if you find one of these, they're old. So there may be little bits and pieces here and there that you need to fix. Even this, like, it has a little bit of a scratch right here for sure. Couple dings here and there, but they're old, so it might end up working out that way for you. So what we'll do here is I will start kind of piecing this thing together, getting it cleaned up, and then I'll insert some photos of the process along the way. And then there will be a second video where I will focus on the sticker application so that if you end up getting the stickers, if you end up finding the right guitar, my hope is that you can plop this on your TV, sit down, and just hang out with Davey and I and end up putting this thing together and have some fun. So that's kind of where we're at on this. Again, I just really wanted to document this process so that folks for years to come, if they want to either learn more about this guitar or make their own, my hope is that the framework is laid out here on the YouTube channel and you can stumble across it and have some fun. So this is a rad guitar, man. Like, I'm stoked to finally start this project. It's literally been years, and I'm hoping it turns out pretty rad, but we'll see. So the update on this thing today, I started to take it apart, and as I had mentioned, I was on the fence about replacing the pickup covers. I had bought an official Fender pack to swap out like the tone and the volume knobs and then the pickup covers because they're pretty yellow. And I started taking it apart, and I get to the point where I'm going to swap the pickup covers and they don't align. I feel like this is a sign from the punk rock gods that are like, leave it as is. And I started trying to kind of widen the holes a little bit. So if you make one of these, I don't know if you will run into this. I'm not sure if this is because this is a made in Korea Squier and the pickup is just like a little bit different. I'm not totally sure. I tried looking at it online and Googling it, not finding anything concrete at the moment. So please let me know if you're smarter than I. But as I start to look at these, I'm like, you know what? I really, at this point in the project, I'm not gonna try and track down like an original set and hope that they're in better shape than these. I'm going to try and clean these just a little bit and see if I can lighten them up. But at this point, I think I'm gonna stick with just the original yellowish OG pickups and probably the volume knobs. These knobs were kind of hard for me to pop off, which was annoying. I'm not a super gearhead by any means, so I don't like this part of messing with guitars. But yeah, I'll pop in some pictures and some of the video, I guess, footage of just kind of taking this thing apart, and we'll see if I can get these things cleaned up at all. But as of now, it's looking like we're gonna keep the old pickups, and I don't even give a fuck. All right, so here's where we're at on this. Last night, I was taking this thing apart, and I had planned on swapping the pickup covers and the tone and volume knobs just because they were quite yellow. I had purchased this official Fender pack to do that. I thought it would be a piece of cake. I unscrewed it all, and the pickup covers did not align. And I went through the trouble of trying to expand these holes. It looked like just the ones on the end I could get away with. It's still not popping in as it should. You'll see the yellow on this old one. And so I feel like this is a sign, as I mentioned, from the punk rock gods. I need to keep the OG items in there. And last night, just to try and lighten up the yellow just a little bit, I left these in a peroxide solution that I saw online. I left lights on it. I left it out in the sun. It's not lightened much at all. I mean, maybe a sliver of a shade, not enough for me to care or even take out this third one to attempt it on. As I was taking it apart and looking at it, I was concerned that I might need a new nut. It's kind of hard to see. And as I looked at photos of Tom's, his is actually white. So technically that is incorrect, but that can always be replaced. I actually ran this by a guitar shop earlier to get an expert's opinion on it. And he said it's an original, leave it. It does not need replaced yet. There's a little bit of a chip in there. Can always replace it down the road if needed. So at this point in the project, I'm gonna pop in the OG covers and I'm gonna go with the original volume knobs. I don't even care. We're going to appreciate the old parts on this, original parts, and I will put this back together. Didn't even have to touch it, which sucks. I will piece this back together, and then at that point, I think we will be ready to sticker it. And that's where the fun begins. Folks, I am happy to report back. The sticker session has happened. I have pieced it back together and the guitar is done. It's done. Ran into a couple issues which I will hit on, but I did piece this thing back together. When I strung it up, I'm still not confident that the nut is okay. I probably am going to take it in for like a tune-up and just double check because I'm getting a little bit of rattling. But for the sake of the project and piecing it back together and getting it stickered, it's complete. I'm ecstatic. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to post a part 2 of this for the sticker application so that if you are building one of these, you can join Davy Jones and myself, and we went sticker by sticker in order and placed them best we could, you know, based on the few reference photos we had. So if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and I will try and get that one up as soon as I can. That will be the guide on how to do this as of now. And for the most part, I mean, most of these weren't that bad. We started on the pick guard with the fat clowns, the blockhead, the ATM, and then we kind of started working our way around. So I feel like I did a pretty good job on this. The one that I did have to end up replacing a little bit was the blue ATM. My sticker just wasn't right, but I've kind of fixed it for now. This one was a little difficult. You have to pull up the pick guard slightly and get that in there. And then yeah, once you get that in place and you throw on your Gibson strap, you're in great shape. And at that point, you've got the first Blink-182 guitar. And just for giggles, the last touch for me, as I did on the sticker strap, kind of hard to see here, but I've got the Buddha era bunny. And to me, it just kind of finalizes the replica. And again, this is a work in progress. There may be pictures that surface tomorrow that totally point out things I've done incorrectly, or more importantly, I hope we get some photos of the back. There's definitely a yellow sticker in here somewhere. Pretty sure there's a sticker right in here, but I don't know. One day, hopefully a photo will surface. So I think that's gonna do it for this journey. As far as this goes, I'm stoked to play it. I think I will save you all the pain and agony of having to hear me play this thing and butcher songs. I will note, on Tom's, you'll notice in the photos, the knob on top of this switch selector is off in all of the photos I see. I was on the fence about it, but I figured at this point, I'm gonna make the replica as accurate as possible. I yanked it off. So if you're doing that, yank yours off, get the strap. You know, whether or not you get a custom plate on the back, that is up to you. But yeah, I hope this video helps somebody make a replica of this at some point. If you ever make one, please reach out. I would love to see pictures of it. If you ever happen to stumble across this and have photos of this guitar from way back in the day, that would be amazing. I think for me, I'm gonna play it, I'm gonna cherish it. It crossed my mind the other day to reach out to Tom and see if he would want it. Like if Tom wants it, I'll ask, by all means. I would consider gifting it to him if it would mean more to him hanging on his studio wall or something, because as I mentioned, his is gone. But yeah, if not, it's gonna look rad with my sticker strat I made. Maybe at minimum, we can get To The Stars to make a miniature version of this. I'm happy to send over photos of this to help with that process. That would be sick, because this is an important guitar in Blink's history. I mean, the first guitar he used with Blink-182, and I hope you enjoyed this video, maybe learned a little bit about it, and I encourage you, try and make your own, have fun with it, and I would love to see pictures of it when you're done. So really the takeaway is, basically, at this point in time, again, this is a work in progress research-wise, best guess is silver Squier. I think that's the important part to look for when you're looking for an early 90s, late 80s Fender Squier. Basically 89 through 91-ish is probably the time frame you're looking for. You'll find some of these with silver serial numbers underneath. Those are close. Based on the photos, my personal opinion is it looks black, which is why I honed in on the black serial number right here. Some of those start with an E, some of them start with an S. There were two different factories that were making them in those couple years. This particular one is a MIK factory one. So if you're looking for it, that's kind of where you should start. If you want to try and find at least some sort of older Squier, obviously you want the Rosewood, nice neck on it. It looks really, really sick. So yeah, try and track down an early 90s, late 80s, made in Korea, red Squier. And then hopefully, along with the sticker video, you can help kind of either find some of those original stickers and apply it best you can. And that's that. So yeah, this was a fun project. Appreciate everybody hanging out with me throughout this. Check out part 2 for the sticker application. Davy Jones and I went sticker by sticker. That'll be a long one, more or less a guide to help you apply the stickers in order. And you'll learn a little bit about the stickers and how we found them in that. Got to give a huge shout out to the Sticker Strat crew for helping with the research of this. Dylan Anderson, Carrie Key, a lot of folks helped me with the stickers and tracking down the stickers. And as always, I'm very appreciative of everybody letting me bother them and answering my silly questions. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Talk soon.